Welcome to the Travel Plus Loyalty Podcast. We are again ready with our Monday morning update.
A really good feeling I remember from the past 15 months was the 19th of June. That's a date I will never forget. It was 3 months after we had the last flight flying into Copenhagen with passengers. Then we had a full stop, not carrying any passengers to Copenhagen for 3 months. And then on the 19th of June 2020, we had the first flight, EK 151, returning to Copenhagen. Full flight with passengers. I was personally at the airport, at the gate, standing there with my face mask and greeting all the passengers arriving. Just seeing the 777 taxiing in on the runway, entering the gate, the door is open, crew is there, hello. Fantastic feeling. 19th of June.
You just heard Morten Balk, who is the country manager at Emirates. Morten was talking about the first flight with passengers arriving in Copenhagen after a period of 3 months where no Emirates flight had carried any passengers due to the COVID pandemic. As you could hear, it was a real emotional feeling seeing passengers again. Something that have not happened for almost 10 years since Emirates have started the Copenhagen to Dubai route. The theme for today's Monday morning update is about Emirates and how the last 15 months have been working at Emirates, how they are now preparing for the restart, and what 2021 will bring. 2021 is also Emirates' 10 years anniversary on flying to Denmark. In our studio, which today is at the conference center at the Clarion Hotel, Copenhagen Airport, where we are sitting in one of their meeting rooms, Morten Balk is talking to our Alan Hoffery. Let's go over to the Clarion Hotel Copenhagen Airport and get started on today's Monday morning update.
Welcome to our podcast today. We have Morten Balk of Emirates here in Copenhagen. And Morten, could you please make a brief introduction of yourself?
Thank you, Alan, and thank you for the invitation. As you said, my name is Morten Balk. I am the country manager of Emirates in Denmark, responsible for Denmark and also the Baltics States. We are not yet flying to the Baltics States, but we fly to Copenhagen. I've been with the airline business since many years, some will say too many, working for different airlines. So I have a good experience of the airline industry and the travel trade as such.
Well, let's get straight into the purpose of our podcast today. I think we all know that we are getting into the summer of 2021, and we are still, I must say, in the biggest crisis any airline has ever experienced as such. How has that impacted Emirates? And in particular, how has all of this impacted you? We are now into more or less 1.5 years of slightly changed working conditions. What do you sort of think is the biggest take away from all of this from your personal point of view?
Like with any other airline, the pandemic has also had and still have an impact on Emirates. I mean, in the past, we have seen many crises like 9/11, financial crisis, SARS, ash cloud, and so forth. However, none compared to this one and the current pandemic. But this one we will also overcome. Travel restrictions have been imposed, border closures, lack of international coordination makes it very hard for us to navigate as an airline. Many countries have imposed flight bans. They have imposed maximum capping of passengers we are allowed to carry, for example, to Australia, the Philippines, other places as well. So we had to be responsive to change. Short-term planning, normally we have the black belt in long-term planning, but nowadays it's really short-term planning, adjusting, identifying all opportunities. you could say it's like taking 10 steps forward and then 8 back. Nevertheless, I believe there is, especially now, light over the horizon as the vaccines are being rolled out together with the travel pass. If you take UAE alone, 65% of the population is now are now fully vaccinated. Compared to Denmark, it's just over 21%. Back in March, 25th of March last year, UAE authorities closed the borders and introduced very strict restrictions in order to contain the pandemic. And during the period 3 months from April until June last year, we only flew over 200 repatriation flights in close cooperation with authorities and embassies worldwide. And quickly we saw that we need to adapt our service delivery to the new situation: catering, PPE, social spacing, deep cleaning of aircraft, gates, so forth. Speed up touchless as well, hygiene kit, and try to have this travel with peace in mind. We also saw very early that, of course, passenger demand disappeared. And for 3 months, we couldn't fly with passengers, only on these repatriation flights. So what could we do instead? Of course, we saw the demand for cargo, so we could scale up our cargo operation. And here we have a good advantage with our all-wide-body fleet of aircraft, especially the Boeing 777 is a huge advantage. Currently, we have 145 in our fleet. And what we did, we actually converted 16 of those into mini freighters, meaning we removed the economy seats, so we could carry cargo both in the cargo area, of course, but also where normally passengers would be seated. And that was in addition to our 11 full freighters of Boeing 777s. What we also did was actually to carry cargo on seats and in the overhead bins. So we have managed to carry more than 11,000 tons of vital cargo. And that's equivalent to cargo transported on 800,000 aircraft seats. So it's another operation. Also, you need strict safety standards and so forth. Maybe you didn't know that 1 out of every 25 COVID vaccines are transported through Dubai. We have managed to date to transport close to 70 million doses of the vaccines on our flights through Dubai. Since June, when the borders of the UAE opened again, we have gradually restarted our network in a very controlled and phased manner, with focus on the cargo demand. And then we have scaled up as soon as restrictions were lifted or eased up. And today we fly close to 100 destinations. It's approximately 2/3 of pre-pandemic. And we ship cargo to more than 135 destinations. And if you add that together with our codeshare program with Fly Dubai, our sister airline in Dubai, we serve up to 168 destinations jointly.
Well, it's been a busy year and a lot of changes. One of the question that normally pops up here, I mean, you were operating the largest commercial aircraft into Copenhagen for many years. How has all of this impacted not only you, but the whole staff? All of a sudden, the biggest aircraft is no longer coming. So how was it when, like you said, the border closed and all of a sudden no aircraft into this? How did that impact all of you guys in the organization here in Denmark?
Well, Alan, it's a very good question, because if we look back, actually this year we have 10 years jubilee in Copenhagen. We started back in 2011, August 1st. We started with the Airbus A380, And then it has been a success story until actually last year in February, March. But going from the Airbus A330 to the iconic Airbus A380, high-dens version, 615 seats, and then suddenly from one day to the other, no flight, at least with passengers, for 3 months. The last 15 months I would rather forget, I think. It has been very challenging and also sad to see how the whole travel and hospitality industry has suffered and still do. For Emirates, we have gradually returned capacity to market according to demand, and cargo has been the driving factor here. Huge thanks to our colleagues in Sky Cargo for making this happen. But also positive, we have seen spikes for passenger demand, especially around autumn, Christmas, Easter. So also saying that demand is still here and intact. I first heard about COVID back in early February 2020. We saw the first cancellations coming from China, impacting also Dubai, hospitality and so forth. And hereafter it went fast. Locally, we have worked in different phases, actually. The first phase was really all about supporting trade partners and customers, trying to get people back to Denmark before the world would close down. So that was really the first phase, working closely with trade and customers. The next phase was really dialogue with our head office concerning waivers, flexibility, refunds. We have returned in refunds approximately 10.5 billion Danish crowns to customers during the last year, and handled 1.7 million refund requests. So it's a lot, you can imagine. So after that phase, we went more into a dialogue lobbying phase with key stakeholders concerning travel restrictions, restart of travel, and key stakeholders here. It's the embassy, it's the Danish Travel Association, the Foreign Ministry, and so forth. Then finally, in phase 4, we saw the restart of our operation. That was on the 19th of June, so it was a celebration day. 2 weekly flights, and our messaging to the trade here was really, we are here to support you. Let's get into business again. We are here to support you. And then on July 7 last year, Dubai opened its borders again for tourists. So as one of the few countries in the world, actually. So that was the message to trade and customers. And then after that, it has been all about preparing this restart, really to be ready, talk to travel partners, customers, as soon as restrictions are lifted, then we are prepared to jointly really restart the travel. It really has been a tough year, I can say, and hard to see that going from the 380 and then suddenly for 3 months no passenger aircraft, and then coming back not with the 380 but the 777. Yeah.
I guess also the whole thing you're going through and all of this is happening. How has it been for the staff? Most airlines has been working, but on a very reduced level. In this one, how did that impact you as well?
Well, it was a tough time because actually many of the colleagues were sent home. In order to save cost, we also had to implement the state aid packages, which we are grateful that they were there. But for several months, actually during 6 months, we were only a small core team working, handling the necessary, meaning dialogue with head office, key stakeholders, some of the travel partners. But it has been tough, and a lot of things you would normally not do, you were doing in that period of time, and you had many hats on as well, and you had to navigate in this difficult environment. Globally as well, we have reduced the workforce by 30% during last year, and the same goes for the team in Denmark. Unfortunately, we had to say farewell to several good and valued colleagues back in September. So today we are a more slim organization, but that was necessary to do in order to move forward. The year has been a year with a lot of uncertainty. How would the pandemic evolve? Would there be a phase 2, second, third wave? What about the restrictions? At the same time, as I mentioned in the beginning, we had to adapt to the situation. So how can we secure customer confidence? That we did by introducing PPE for staff as one example. Suddenly we talked about HEPA filters. You never talked about HEPA filters before. What is that? They are on board the aircraft. They are cleaning the cabin. So it's like on a hospital operation suite. We were the first airline to introduce the complimentary hygiene travel kit. We were the first airline to offer the free COVID-19 coverage. And of course, we had a lot of dialogue with our travel agencies, either through webinars, where we gave them kind of state of the nation, what has happened since last time, but also Teams calls. We are not able to visit them. Often they were difficult to reach because either sent home on a state aid package or they are maybe made redundant. So difficult periods, but I must say personally, not just because I work for Emirates, but it was impressive to see how Emirates, as a great, huge international airline, were able to be so responsive in such a short time to transform, really to create this customer confidence, change the service delivery, but also scale up the whole cargo demand. Because early we saw that we need to complement where there is no passenger demand or very little. How can we then get some cash flow? And that was through a healthy cargo demand. So it was done, and not something you would expect. It should be done or done by such a huge airline in a very short time, but we did it. So I think we have, in the past year, been very reliable, accessible, but also flexible and responsive to change. And I think the travel agents will also agree on that. We reacted fast and with flexibility to this volatile situation, adapting the product, the service delivery to the market. And I think we have the size, and we have shown that to lead the way.
Well, then let's say we are now in a new starting period. Denmark is doing quite well right now with the COVID. Borders are opening. Unfortunately, most of the borders that are opening are sort of not where you are flying from here. How do you envision sort of the reopening after COVID for Emirates? There are still certain restrictions. Some of your very big destinations like Australia is not even giving a date on when they want to reopen. New Zealand is not doing it. Planning must be very difficult. So how do you envision sort of the reopening time frame wise or manpower wise in that one? And I totally, we totally understand that this is just thoughts on what will happen, but based on your experience, how quick the airline has been to change, how quick will they be to open?
I think overall Emirates expect that we return to approximately 50% capacity pre-pandemic during summer and approximately 70% during winter 21-22. But also being realistic, right now we experience some setbacks, especially unfortunate development in India and other few key source markets which are big for Emirates. So right now it's going more in the wrong direction in certain areas. I do not expect to see the 380 back in Copenhagen this year. But unless suddenly demand really rises. Also, right now, the 777 is really much better suitable for Copenhagen because it has the perfect combination of cargo and passengers. Where the 380 is more suited for passengers, the 777 can actually do both. So with the current situation, it's really the best suited aircraft right now for Copenhagen. We do, however, see a great appetite for travel, especially when we reach the autumn school vacation, week 42. We see great demand for Dubai, but also Indian Ocean, the Maldives, Mauritius, the Seychelles. So here we try already now to get some extra frequencies or maybe to add or redeploy the 380 on certain departures really to cater for this demand. So it's positive, and I think this demand is people are booking now, and if not traveling during the summer, they will definitely do it during autumn, Christmas or winter season, that's for sure. And talking about demand here, I also believe it's very important that we try to create this feeling of ease of mind. Like what I mentioned before, we introduced early several measures to support this safety and health. We introduced the unique multi-risk travel insurance, so you are covered when you travel, in order to take this uncertainty out of traveling. We updated rapidly our booking and voucher policies, adapting them with flexibility to the new situation. Our website is updated 24/7 on this COVID-19 hub with the latest guidelines and restrictions. So in order to get people to travel again, we must make it easy for them to do it. It should not be complicated. I think that's really key here for the travel agencies, but also for us as airlines to make it as simple as possible with the restrictions, that are still imposed, but we have to make it as easy as possible. And then we see as well Dubai. They have been open now since July 7, and it's a world-class hub. It's our home. It has an ideal location. You reach 2/3 of the world's population within 8-hour flight, and 1/3 of the world's population within 4 hours flight. So we will continue to ramp up activities as we see the world will reopen. A good example is what's happening in Italy now, where they have eased the restrictions on quarantine. So here we see immediately a demand for travel. So we are increasing frequencies to Milano. We restart Venice. So that's just a good example. So as soon as the restrictions are eased or even lifted, you see the demand for travel. Also, Expo is coming up, and with a Danish pavilion, official Danish pavilion. It's the first time Expo is in the MENA region, and it will be a great show starting from October 1st and running until the 31st of March next year. The theme for Expo will be all about connecting minds and creating the future. And the whole Expo area is situated just between Dubai and Abu Dhabi, and it's twice the size of Monaco. So you can imagine how big it will be. It will be a great show and a great opportunity, both for business, of course, but also for pleasure. If you are having your vacation in the UAE, Dubai, or somewhere else, you need to visit the whole Expo area. They expect up to 25 million visitors, whereas 15 million will be unique visitors, and approximately 15% are coming from the EU. Of course, they are also taking all the preconditions for safe Expo and so forth. And Dubai is our home. and nowadays more or less a year-round destination. Only 6-7 hours flight, 2-3 difference of time difference, and it's a city full of diversity. It's secure. You have shopping, dining. You have activities like sports, desert, beach, adventure. Has so much to offer, and when we reach autumn, winter, I think really Dubai will be.
Recently, there was a lot of press coverage about the introduction of your premium economy on flights, starting up, mentioning selected flights only. But what kind of plans do you think that we'll have for let's say the total Emirates portfolio of flights, and when do you think we can see it in the Nordics?
Premium economy is our great new product. We have done an assessment several times to see if we should implement the premium economy, and now is the time. So we released the product to the public, and actually we just displayed it as well at the Arabian Travel Market in Dubai, the big B2B travel fair, which went on here in May. Normally, we have had either 3-class or 2-class, so either first business economy or business and economy. But now we see a need to implement the premium economy. So it will be in between economy and business class. And of course, the aim is not for business class to buy down, but for economy to buy up. It's all about how we price set this new product. It's a fantastic product. We have seen it on the new 380s. They have been flying to UK, to London, to Paris, and a few other destinations. We have not started to sell premium economy yet, but we have used it. Our top frequent flyers have been selected to try the premium economy class if they were booked in economy class, and it's been really, really popular. Scandinavia is a premium economy destination, you could say. We saw it introduced by SAS many years ago, so definitely we would like to see it in Scandinavia as well, and I hope that we will see it here. I have told our network planning and head office that definitely we would like to see it in Copenhagen, because I believe we can really sell it. We have a great interest from travel agencies. So the thing is that we need it on more aircraft in order to sell it as a real product. There have been talks about retrofit of existing fleet, and I hope and cross my fingers that we will do that, but I have no confirmation. Otherwise, it will be implemented on the new aircraft we are getting delivered. We will see new 777s coming in. We will see the Dreamliner coming in as well, the 787. So they will also be equipped with the premium economy. But we expect and hope to see it in Scandinavia and Copenhagen within the next 1 or 2 years.
The sort of last question, more or less, I have, based on what you have just explained and how everything has been changing more or less day by day and is still changing. What do you think will be the biggest change that we will experience in the aviation industry as of end of this 2021? How do you think all of this will impact the future travel?
That's a really good question. I don't actually think so much will be changed. I think we have learned a lot, and some of the things, what we have implemented, will actually stay. But there's no doubt that travel will return. It's just a matter of when. When will we be back to the pre-pandemic levels? And here it's all about number of external factors, government approvals, easing of travel restrictions, of course the vaccination rollout across continents and countries. But what we have learned, and I think that will stay, we have speeded up projects like touchless screens that you are no hands, so forth, the social distance maybe also. But otherwise, I think we will be pretty much back to normal. And our forecast at the moment says that even though with a little setback, we are talking about maybe end of next year or in 23, we will be back to pre-pandemic levels. But we have seen over the last decades that air travel have increased year by year, and I still think that it will change. Of course, with the online technology, we will see some travel will be exchanged with an online meeting maybe, but also the destinations we fly, and as an hub airline, you still need to travel to China or Australia. You have an obligation there. You need to establish relationships, sign a contract, and so forth. And for leisure travel, for sure it will come back, and I think it will also increase again. But the good thing is that we have also learned something from the pandemic, and the good things we should actually bring forward also in the future. That would be my take on that.
Before we close, can you share which are the most popular destinations that you're currently getting bookings to, without sharing too much insight?
There's no doubt that during the past year we have seen some change in popular destinations. Normally it would be some of the Far East, Thailand, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, and so forth. But we have seen a change, especially due to all the restrictions. Dubai, of course, is key for us because we have a lot of expats there as well. But then it's typical destinations for visit friends and families. We have the marine segment as well, seamen traveling a lot. So you see a shift. So some of the former tourist leisure destinations are not that big a hit anymore. It's more now marine, where you have a great port, crew exchange, and so forth. You have some Pakistan, Irani destinations, important family exchange, and so forth. And then the expats are traveling. Looking ahead, we see that the tourist destinations are coming back. As I said, especially when the restrictions are lifted, we see good demand for Indian Ocean, especially Dubai as well. And Dubai is open for tourist travel. And we're also beginning to see Thailand coming back. It's a great destination for Scandinavians. We hope to see Bali to restart soon. And then, of course, the big question mark is Australia and New Zealand. My guess is that there will be restrictions until end of the year, and maybe in 2022 we will see some lifted restrictions. But we aim to further expand our network, and together with Fly Dubai, because we complement each other. They fly with the 737s, so into secondary destinations. So we have the co-share coordinated timetables. We plan to operate more than 400 destinations to and from or via Dubai. And I don't think many other hubs in the world can match this. But that's, of course, moving into the future within the next 1 or 2 years.
Then I would like to thank you very much for sharing all this insight, feelings, and all the great information. Thanks very much for joining us today.
Thank you, Alan, and thank you for having me. And just as my closing remark, please experience the world again. Be ready, book, fly, enjoy. So welcome on board.
That marks the end of this episode of our Monday Morning Update. We from the Travel Plus Loyalty podcast team wish you a very good day, and if you do travel, then we wish you a safe travel.